Yo. Welcome to another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. I'm your host, Kenshiro, episode 228 on the dial. Today we've got a very important topic, but, one that is kind of impacted by recent events. We're going to be talking about Black comic book creators and kind of like their importance in the culture, but also how the industry has changed for them as far as like being able to self-publish and get themselves out there in the populace and get more notoriety for some of their products. So not to belabor the point, we got a lot to get to. Before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm going to introduce who's going to be on the show with me today. Across from me is Mr. GQ. To the right of me is the great Dadakuji. Remote, we've got Fallen Marvel and Gypsy. What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Now you just fixed your mic.
You just fixed your mic, and now you're going to have to fix it again.
Hey.
Yeah, now you turning like it sounded like R2-D2 slide.
That's what you get for updating your computer before the show.
Anyway, guys, we also have a very special guest in the studio with us today, Mr. Dave Perrin, former Marvel artist and Harris Comics artist, freelance artist extraordinaire. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Man. Good to be here. Thank you for
All right, we will reintroduce Dave on the show a little bit later, but first let's run the gamut.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Actually, that's a very great lead-in, because speaking of Iron Man and the Avengers game came out yesterday. Early access, well, really, it comes out Friday, but early access for people like me who pre-ordered. Having a great time playing the game on Twitch and on YouTube. If you've been watching those videos, great. Please keep watching them. I'm having a blast enjoying it with you all. But also yesterday was a new Square Enix War Table where they announced what to expect on launch day, but they also revealed that the first post-launch character is Hawkeye. Well, you might be surprised to hear that it's Hawkeye, because you did hear Hawkeye was coming, but it's not the Hawkeye you're thinking of. It's not Clint Barton. It's Kate Bishop. Nobody was expecting it. Everybody knew Kate Bishop was kind of rumored to be in the running to be one of the characters, but they didn't expect her this soon. Well, yeah, she's available launch day right now. As soon as you get through the story mode and play through her story mission. So that's something to look forward to. Fallen, what do you got?
Do I sound okay?
Yes, you do.
You sounding good.
Yes, you
Okay,
do.
I'm just trying to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess to stay on topic, Marvel related. Of course, we've all known about the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, but on another note relating to that, apparently fans have chased Elizabeth Olsen, who you all know plays Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch. They've chased her off Instagram because she hasn't posted anything regarding his death on social media. Needs to say people are fucking stupid.
That's putting it mildly. Keeping it Marvel related, Dido, what do you have?
Well, it's another unfortunate passing in the Marvel realm. Norm Spencer, who we all know as Cyclops, his most famous role for us nerds. Cyclops on the animated X-Men series, excuse me, passed away recently. I think the day after Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, so the passing of Norm Spencer, he not only did the voice for the X-Men, but animated series, but he was the soundbite that they used for Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and stuff like that. Just like, I forget the guy's name that did Wolverine. He was on there, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, Capcom basically pulled a lot of the original actors from the animated series, because it just kept that continuity of this is what Wolverine sounds like on TV. Well, you got a video game, this is what he sounds like in the game, too. So it just kind of works. So.
All right, cool. So that was Run the Gamut. We got in quick, got in out. Now we're going to move on to the next topic of the show.
From the pages up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to reintroduce our special guest, in-studio guest, Mr. Dave Perrin, to the show. Welcome.
Hey, man.
Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate you.
All right.
So really briefly, kind of for those of our viewers that may not be as familiar with who you are and your work, kind of like fill them in on what's your background.
Detroit, Michigan, born and bred, Pershing High School, uh, Columbus College of Art and Design. Graduated in 1985.
You didn't have to do that. Yourself. You didn't have to do that.
I was in the advertising business for a long time. I worked advertising, Dunham Sporting Goods. I did a lot of TV and radio production there. And for the past 24, close to 25 years, working at Zen Design Group as a creative director. Did a lot of work with Lego, Lucasfilm in terms of designing products.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, toy design.
Cool.
Things like that.
Really
did a lot of
cool.
work with Disney. But behind the scenes and all of that from the 80s, and for as much as I could get into it, I did comics. When I was working at Dunham's, I met Arvell Jones and Keith Pollard and Gerald Walker, Tion, my ace man, and they helped me get into comics. And
Nice.
I was one of those kids that took my mom's typing paper and made my own comics, stapled them up. So that was a dream,
Okay.
you know, to actually do comics. And Arvell, as a mentor, taught me, showed me what to do, took me around to conventions, and put together a portfolio with his guidance and help, and scored my first work with Dark Horse. Did a issue of Dark Horse Presents. I don't know if anybody remembers the character Mecha. That was probably that was when Dark Horse was just rolling
really-
with it.
yeah.
Just getting started. And then I met editors from Harris and got a lot of steady work with Vampirella, which was kind of my thing. And the editors liked the Bad Girl thing was getting rolling right around then. And,
Right.
they said, "Man, you draw really good looking." so
Okay.
so yeah, so Vampirella was kind of like my bread and butter for a little while. Did quite a few issues of Vengeance of Vampirella, and at Chicago Comic Con one year, I met an editor who saw my Vampirella work. Said, "Man, I'm doing a limited series with Domino from X-Men. So I'd like to have you do it." And I'm
So,
bam.
I'm there.
So, and you know, for somebody that had always wanted to do comics, had met great people, the right people, and had gotten a little break after slightly bigger break after slightly bigger break, to finally have an editor from Marvel Comics tell you that they want you to work on an X-Men character, their first solo venture. And I was off and running, but at the time, being a freelance artist, I was
you weren't feeling it?
it was just you couldn't sustain life, you know.
Right.
You just had bills, and that money was. So I opted to focus back onto my career in advertising, my career in the commercial art field, and I dedicated myself to that 30-year experience there.
Okay.
But always in the back of my head, I wanted to do comics. So never lost the passion, just never found the time again.
Right.
But circumstances have come about where there's an opportunity for me to get back in. Friendships with Arvell, with Tion and Keith, and are still paying off, and working with those guys on upcoming projects that all of the NDAs say that I can't say much about, but getting back into it with Resurgence Comics. And there's a project coming that should be debuting in 2021.
Nice.
I'm real happy with, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Awesome. Got anything?
Well, no, definitely. I mean, just starting off, like, you took me from this part of my childhood, went through, stopped at comic books for a minute, and now we talking about. It's like, hold on now, like you just he casually said, I did some work for Lucasfilm and
I know.
Disney.
And
I'm
Lego,
like, wait
yeah.
a minute, and Lego. I'm like, wait, hold on now, you just hit the big three of childhood. It's like, okay, well, I think because again, I'm also a freelancer, but for video production. So what? And I completely understand where you're coming from as far as like, man, you gotta pay the bills, and this is great, but I gotta pay the bills.
Yeah.
So I mean, what? And it's a hard question to ask, but I guess at what moment, or maybe even what project were you kind of in the middle of, and it's just like, this isn't going to work completely as far as like sustaining like just.
I can tell you right now, the Domino job was 3 consecutive issues. And in the comic book business, if you can't do at least a page a day, you should not be in that business as a penciler.
Okay.
Unless you're the kind of superstar where everyone will wait on you to finish. I was not that. So when the editor says, I need a page a day, that's what you did. But I also worked full-time at Dunham's.
That's
in
what you were doing this?
the advertising department. So my day would start off, I'd wake up at 7, go to work at Dunham's, get home from Dunham's at about 6:30, 7 p.m. I'd eat quickly, and then I'd draw until I could finish a page. And sometimes that page would be finished at about 5, 6 in the morning.
Serious?
And
Oh
then
my
you turn it right back
God.
around. Yeah.
And I would stagger on in the next day, and whatever I couldn't finish, my weekend was dedicated to getting caught up. I did that for 3 months in a row.
Oh wow.
To be on time, to deliver the best book I could as a new guy starting out. And it put me in the hospital. I got pneumonia.
Wow.
After that, I was
Yeah.
sick. And that's when I realized that I can't do both. And as nice and as great an opportunity as that was, it's unfair to go out and try to get that kind of work, knowing that I cannot abandon the day job. So I just backed off a bit, and sometimes I sit back and go, man, maybe you should have took a chance on you. But like I said, when things like healthcare and a mortgage are looking at you, you got to do the right practical things.
So-
That's true. Yeah, go ahead, Dado.
Well, we got a question out of the chat from John P. And he's asking, do you have a favorite project or a standout one that you favor?
The thing I'm working on right now that I can't talk about.
That's fair.
Wow, okay.
Only because I got to work with some really cool guys at Resurgence, and I played a little part in developing this new character that I'm really excited about. I got a chance to design this character from the ground up with some input from some other cool creative folks. But right now, the thing that I'm doing right now is the thing that I'm most excited about. Domino was great, but it was a long time ago. It's time to roll into 2021 with something hot and new, and that's what I'm most excited about. So
Nice.
hopefully you'll see why I'm excited, and it'll be worth the wait.
Fallen?
That's pretty awesome. So, like, since you can't really talk about what you're doing,
I can tell you that it's horror and fantasy and superhero craziness, kind of all in one.
Okay.
nice.
And and there we go.
Don't divulge too
Well,
much, though.
That's it.
Well, interesting. But I was actually wondering, like, what were some like notable influences on
Oh man.
helping create this character? Like,
I
what was
am,
like the one thing that really kind of was like, you know what, I think this would be cool to kind of implement for this character.
Well, I can't say that because that that will give away a lot. Put it this way: if you know my background, and if you know the characters that I've done in the past, you will know why this character came to me, and why I'm bringing what I do best to it. It's going to be hot, and
All right.
yeah. But like I said, it's going to be a mix of horror and fantasy and superhero action and the influences. I'd say Vampirella and Domino,
Okay.
the two characters that I'm synonymous with, or at least that are instrumental in my career, play a big part in what I'm doing right now. So, absolutely.
Okay.
That's nice.
Gypsy, do you have anything?
Well, I was honestly just excited. I mean, he mentioned horror and superheroes at the same time, and that kind of gets me right here, man. So I'm kind of ready for whatever you're working on.
Okay.
Cool.
So, one of our remote, one of the people that usually comes on the show with us, Miao Yin, she's asking out of the chat. She's actually over in Korea right now, but she wants to know, where do you draw your inspiration from?
In terms of artistically, I am, comic book specifically, I'm a big John Byrne guy.
That was me. That was me.
Yeah. I'm a
X-Men. His X-Men or his Superman book?
No, I'll take you back to Iron Fist.
Oh, dog. Okay. Now Yeah. Okay.
And the irony is, it's so funny because as a kid reading Iron Fist comics, Arvell Jones was the artist. Now, I didn't know
You didn't know
Arvell.
at the time, right?
Shockingly, small world. I come to meet him, and he would become my mentor.
Right.
But after Arvell left, John Byrne
got on it. Yep.
took over. So I'm like, man, this cat is. My brain clicked right into where he was going with his style of art, and he's been my biggest influence. But I'm also a big Adam Hughes guy. I like Jim Lee, but Neil Adams, of course. You know, any of the greats. Garcia Lopez. But definitely John Byrne. John Byrne and Adam Hughes are kind of the flip sides for my coin.
So you named a lot of legends and a lot of really good ones. Yeah. But for me personally, what I want to know is who's some of your favorites now?
See, right now I'm really into, and I hope I pronounce his name right. He's a God. Darn, I wish I hadn't even said it now because I can never pronounce his name. He draws the most intricate Jin Gung. I shouldn't have even said that.
What book is he doing?
That's just it. He's not a comic book artist.
Oh, he's not a comic.
No,
okay.
he can draw comics, but he can draw anything. You can find him on the internet. And I shouldn't have even. I'm doing him a disservice now. I should have had his name in the back of my head. But right now, I'm looking at a lot of illustrators. My favorite illustrator. I took fashion illustration in college. So I'm still a big George Stavrinos fan. I don't know if you guys are into seeing fashion illustration. Well, that's what I did. I wanted to be a fashion designer, but I never learned how to sew. So you can't, So, but George Stavrinos, any of the Wyeth, just any of the great illustrators, they're all influential.
Okay.
Candy Wiley is, fantastic.
Yeah. All right.
Beyond belief. Yeah.
All right. So that was a nice introduction to Dave. So we got a lot of really good stuff to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. So please keep feeding us questions in the chat to ask to Dave, and we'll ask them sporadically. And obviously, he'll be able to answer you directly when we get to the Power is Yours segment. So unfortunately, last week the fandom was hit by the very sudden passing of Chadwick Boseman, who iconically played Black Panther for us in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The basically the shockwaves of his death has kind of really hit everybody in their feels. And kind of like highlights the importance of a topic like this today, just because of how important culturally Black Panther has become to not just fandom, but specifically Black nerd fandom. So one thing I wanted to ask to Dave is, as far as like the importance of Black Panther to Black nerds, and when it comes to people saying that they don't want Marvel to recast the role, how do you feel about, well, one, how did you feel about Black Panther, the character, Chadwick's performance, and his importance to the culture now?
I go way back with Black Panther. Those jungle action books with Billy Graham back in the 70s when I was a kid. So fantastic character, culturally relevant, always important. A creation of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, which is still remarkable to me that they did what they did and made it so smart and so cool for something that became here in 2020 cultural phenomenon. So Black Panther was key long before I ever discovered Luke Cage. Everybody, some people might say Luke Cage was their introduction to Black superhero, the realm of Black superheroes. But Black Panther was it for me. So to finally see it done on screen and done so well was remarkable. So to lose him, it's a big blow, big blow, because you really wanted to see more of the world that was built there, something that you didn't think you could ever see, something that only comic books could have brought you.
Right.
And we're just now getting to the point where movies can do what comic books do.
Right. GQ?
Real quick, just to jump back, I think one of our remote panelists found the artist you were speaking of, Kim Young-ji.
Yes.
All right.
I just opened to find out, but yeah,
All right,
that
cool.
cat, man, if you are an artist, look into him and just watch his Instagram, watch him draw. He is just phenomenal. It just flows out of his hand like water. It's amazing. He blows my mind. That guy is really, really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now back on topic. I didn't want to derail the conversation, but as far as the cultural impact that Black Panther had, not like you said, you brought up that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, two men during the '60s, not of color.
Yeah.
And like you said, they brought forth a character that wasn't stereotypical. You could 10 years later you would have had the blaxploitation films and that sort of thing. So not stereotypical, a king, highly intelligent.
Yeah.
And it's led to this legacy of, and it took a while, but it did come around that we got a Black lead, 90% Black cast, for the film, and to lose, Chadwick at this point in time is devastating. The problem is, and a lot of people on Twitter and Instagram and various places are saying don't recast. What is your take on that? What is your feeling on that? Because again, you can't. It's like you just got at the top of the hill, momentum is ready to catch, and then this tragedy happens, but you can't. What's your take on that?
As somebody who loved that movie and who has been eagerly awaiting a Black Panther 2, I can understand and would not be. I want a Black Panther 2, and I don't think that we're done with the character of T'Challa just yet.
Andrew, agreed.
I hopefully the estate of Chadwick Boseman would not be opposed to seeing someone else take the role. Now, if they are, I totally get it, and a lot of people don't want to see it, and I would, okay, I get that, but I just don't think that we're done telling his story yet.
Right.
Telling his story on the screen. Ryan Coogler had to have more in the tank for that guy, and when you hear the stories about what the second movie could have been, him and Namor.
Oh, yeah.
Providing they get the casting for Namor just right, and you just,
It's like you said, it's just way too much.
Yeah, it's just too much left. And there's so much room for Shuri. I hear people say, well, let Shuri take over. I said, well, absolutely. But let's finish this story first. It's not like we had Robert Downey Jr., who gave us, I don't know how many appearances as Iron Man. And he took you Iron Man from beginning to end. And as much as I love what they gave us with Tony Stark, watching him go, it just made sense as terms of the MCU.
Right.
Chris Evans, that guy became Captain America. If we were talking about a Black Panther story with 3 or 4 Chadwick Boseman movies, and we're talking about a potential Black Panther 4, and something horrible like this had happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get that, but I would not be opposed to some young guy, a new young actor, a nobody, who can just take this role and run with it and be it for the foreseeable future. It just would not bother me.
Okay.
So that's where I stand with it.
Real quick, Fallen.
Well, before I get into that, EJOBN, Andre Williams, and I'm having a little back and forth with him, but he's on the side of he feels that the role should at least be attempted to have somebody else do it, maybe like a lesser name that has the chops and things like that. And with that being said, for me, I'm more indifferent about it because of the fact that it's just everybody kind of jokes when they say that, like, they always use the term too soon, but it's like for it to be so early on when we just recently still been introduced to the character in a lot of ways. So, and like Mr. Perrin said, there's still a lot of story to be told with T'Challa, and looking at it overall, his story isn't done yet. So I don't know. Personally, I'm indifferent about it. If they do find whatever, we don't have any control over that. If they don't and decide to go with Shuri, I'm completely fine with that too, because that would be comic book accurate. To some degree. Obviously, they're going to change the story up a little bit here and there. But if they go that route, I'm fine with that too. If they decide to recast, it's like, okay, let's see where this goes. It's just going to be one of those things where a lot of people are going to, like, whoever gets recast as T'Challa is going to be met with a lot of scrutiny. Like, because just on the strength that everybody loved Chadwick as the character so much. So it's like they're going to be looking at this new person. It's like, they're going to get that side eye, like, off jump, no matter who it is. So like I said, like, if it's somebody, like, if they go with somebody that's either lesser known or at least someone that has enough acting chops to where it's just like, okay, maybe he'll be able to do this character proud, or do the character justice. It's like I said, it's a lot of different perspectives. It's still going to be a very sore. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb for like a good while. Like, this is going to sting for quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's people rewatching Infinity War, like, crying their eyes out, and because
like,
we know how that
went the first time around, anyway.
Exactly. So it's going to be pretty volatile, like, when it comes to that right now. So I don't know. It's like I said, I remain indifferent about it, man. But like,
I
it's-
know
it's gonna
I know the
certainly
move
go.
I am opposed to, and I keep reading this, and I hope it's not true, is that they're talking about potentially doing a deep fake of his face.
Oh no, they better not do that.
Oh
Nah.
no,
I've-
that's no.
See, I sit
I've
on the
read it.
fence with that because, like, personally, I don't mind if they recast them because I'm not that type of person that say like they've recast other
If you can
superhero
recast
characters.
Sean Connery as James Bond,
Yeah, you can recast anybody, and you can still tell it because they already had plans for Black Panther 2. They more than likely had a treatment for a script, if not, part of the script going. They already had stuff maneuvering because they already had a supposed release date. When if COVID didn't happen, I think it was supposed to come out 2022.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they are probably going to push it back a little bit to try to recast, but that's about it. I get why people don't want the deep fake thing, and I only say that because like for Star Wars specifically, Rogue One, I think they should have deep fake Carrie Fisher and
instead of the
that CG one and what's his name?
Oh, the guy that played Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah,
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
I really think that probably would have been better looking. In this case, that's the only reason why I say this because like I'd rather them deep fake it than CG it, but I'd rather them recast than deep fake.
Yeah.
100%.
I think honestly, recasting is better because deep faking again, Carrie Fisher in Rogue One and also Peter Cushing, very quick cameos basically.
Yeah.
This would be the main character. That to me
Right.
that's almost disrespectful.
Well,
It's
you know
like-
what's
agree.
funny? You'd end up with in the MCU. There's always a reason for these characters to take their helmet off. Now they be putting it
Right,
on.
it'd be on permanently.
putting it on.
Keep it on, yeah.
Like, damn,
throw it
Charlie, you
over
don't take your mask off, man.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. So I deep faking for like a quick, something that's like, look, obviously you can't get Peter Cushing again. Obviously you can't get, young Carrie Fisher again.
Right.
But for Chadwick Boseman through the entire film, because it's Black Panther, who's going to be in, 60% of all the stuff you see on screen. That's a little bit too far, in my opinion. It would be better just to recast. Real quick out of the chat because I know we got to jump. I think it was Miao Yin that was saying, and King to King were going back and forth. They said they need to have Shuri in for at least one movie, then bring T'Challa back. And Wakanda has a lot to explore. Not saying abandon him, just take a break. I'm trying to figure out how that would work because it's like, to me, it's too early to bring Shuri in.
I think it's too early to say take a break because like you only had one movie with
Right,
him, man.
right.
You wouldn't be thinking take a break. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
you're fine.
you wouldn't be thinking take a break if he didn't pass.
Yeah.
So like it's not. I don't think that's fair to the character of Black Panther to T'Challa at all.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be like, because it's just you just got one movie with him.
And he just
Right.
became king.
Yeah.
He just opened up Wakanda. It's
Right.
like there's a whole like Dave said, there is a lot of story that was gearing up to be told,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, he passed on, and it's gonna be a very interesting thing to see
Right.
how that happens and how they essentially move forward from this point.
Well, and real quick, finishing off on that part before we switch topics. To me, I don't want to put Shuri in the role of Black Panther because if you follow the comics, yes, she was Black Panther for practically blink of an eye in comics lore. She was the main title character of Black Panther for her own run for under like a year or so, right? But she maintained the title even after her book got canceled. And was still Black Panther until T'Challa came back and got the role. But she became more popular after that with her own power set. And, her popularity, obviously, because of the movies and everything. Like, the stuff that Ta-Nehisi Coates did with her in his run, that stuff is great. Like, let her be that. Don't pigeonhole her into Black Panther. She's better than that. Don't do that to her. That's my argument.
Well, and not only that, real quick, Letitia Wright, I already know she's probably devastated at this moment.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Right.
like
Yeah,
to
that too.
put that extra pressure on her now to be like, okay, guess what? Now you're in the title role. And again, she's an actress. I'm sure she can do it professionally, but
Sure.
that's still personally a lot of weight to just say, here you go.
Yeah.
And now you got to run with it after this legacy that's been established
Right.
with Chadwick. So that's
Absolutely. No,
Yeah,
you
it's
bring
a
up
lot,
you
man.
bring up a great point,
It's a
but
lot.
to our point, Shuri is a character great on her own, don't make her a legacy character. Let her stand on her own, in my 2 feet. So let's move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about indie comics and kind of their importance and how they've evolved over the course of time. All right, people. So with Dave Perrin here, he obviously touched on his indie comic experience. Now he's got a lot of stuff that's getting ready to come out, but there are a lot of comic book creators that they kind of want to break into Marvel and DC, but they kind of probably don't get the notoriety that they really should. So a lot of them take the indie comics route, like Tion did. Tion was doing that back when we were at Fantasticon. So anyway, him and Pat Jackson. So talk a little bit about how it is, being a Black comic book creator, the struggles of kind of even getting yourself out there from before today. Like just having to go to the conventions, kind of peddle your wares, have people pick it up, put it down, not even really look at it. Just talk about that whole experience.
It's funny because the only way I can really speak to that is say that I haven't had that much of that particular experience.
Really?
Because I was never an indie guy. Remember, my first gig was with Dark Horse.
That's true.
So I went from Dark Horse to Harris to Marvel. And I never actually had this experience I'm having with Resurgence and the experiences that I've had with Generate Comics with Tion. That's been my earliest experience, or actually my latest experience with independent creators. So yeah, I see it now where you have to put your best foot forward and just convince people that what they see on the table in front of them is worth their time and effort. And as far as conventions go, a lot of people are coming by and they're looky-loos and they'll pick it up and they'll put it, and there's not a whole lot you can really do about it.
Right.
All you can do is just do the most professional work that you're capable of and let it stand out on its own. Now, if you have the money and the resources to promote yourself, if you can work out deals with comic book stores where they can help promote you and put you out, if you can do that kind of work, that all helps. But in the end, it comes down to if someone actually opens up your book and thinks it's worth their money. And then that just comes down to the artwork and the writing and the coloring and all of the work that you put into it. That's where you end up having to compete with Marvel and DC. Because that's how I bought those comics in Marvel and DC. If I didn't like the artwork, I don't care if it was from Marvel and DC, I didn't buy it.
Right.
So that wouldn't change with independent comics.
Right.
You have to do the best work possible and be as professional. Because that's the other thing that I think people will kind of knock against you. Just because you're independent doesn't mean that you are amateur. And if you can get over people treating you like an amateur as opposed to being, you're independent, but you're also very professional and you're worth their time and money. I think that's the biggest hurdle, is overcoming someone standing in front of you as an independent creator and assuming that you're an amateur and not a professional and worth their time.
That brings up actually something that, and as you said that, it definitely brought up something as I was just kind of listening to what you were saying, with especially the way things are now with social media, with Instagram, with just essentially just more access than there's ever been. Do you think artists nowadays do have a little bit easier path to get some of their work out there, as far as, because again, back in the day, like Kenshiro was saying, okay, you got to go to a con or go to like the Marvel booth and hope like, a particular artist might be there that could put in a good word for you or whatever it may be. Now it's, you can promote yourself for millions of people to see.
The digital age has changed that for everything. You don't have to be, you don't have to wait for anybody to do anything now. You can get on YouTube and turn yourself into a star by doing the dumbest possible. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
There's almost no excuse if you want to do it now. And as a comic book creator, the pathways are wide open now. But like I said, once you put out your product, you just have to. It has to be worth people's time and money. You can do the work, but the work has to be good to stand out, or at least appeal to enough people that you fulfill yourself. Because if you are an independent creator and you've put out your book and you've done a great job and you sold a few thousand copies of it, and if you sit back and at the end of the day you go, damn, I pulled that off, then there you go. And if you're an independent creator and you put out a book and somebody from Hollywood picked this thing up and said, whoa, I'm going to buy this, and then you've taken off in another route.
Right,
So
right.
you can get out there. The question is, can you do it professionally enough to impact enough people to fulfill your dream and your goal?
To your point, right? Bringing up what he said brings up two people to me. Anthony Piper, who did Trill League.
Yeah.
Trill League is being picked up by 50 Cent. 50 Cent is going to produce Trill League as an animated superhero series. And then also another young brother by the name of Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams, we see his stuff all over the time. He's doing these mashups of classic Marvel comic book characters and stuff like that. But he's doing Tuskegee Heirs. He's an independent producer as well. Tuskegee Heirs is grown from the first time I saw it. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, and that's a project I've kind of followed throughout the course. And now he's starting to get animation, projects maybe even started. I think of those two. I think of LaShawn McCoy, who did an anime over there, Cannon Busters over in Japan. So like you said, getting that social media distribution can totally change your fortunes everywhere.
And the bottom line though is Anthony Piper and the other guys you mentioned, they're getting over because that stuff is good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. It would make perfect sense for them guys to be staples at Marvel, at DC, at Image. So yeah, they're extremely talented and it's paying off for them. And so as an independent creator, like I said, you're independent, but you're not amateur.
Right.
The stuff is good. And if it's good, then people
will find you. Yeah, absolutely. People will find you. Fallen Gypsy, you got anything?
Yeah, one person comes to mind. With this being a topic that actually was a big influence in me picking a pencil back up. I'm supposed to have my bachelor's in animation and all that right now, but that stuff. Yeah,
I can relate, brother. I can relate. Yeah. I can relate.
But no, Miss Harvey, she right now works as an author for Marvel. She was an author for the World of Wakanda. And she was one of the first black females to start animating. Animating and comic stripping for Marvel. So I was even 2016, it was something amazing to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always tried to keep track of the people who just kind of just came out of nowhere and actually stood and made some type of name that stands in history. So I do love the fact that we're talking about this. I can't remember the name of the teacher I had at the time who told me about someone, because one of my favorite video games is Zelda, an artist named Zelda Jackson from the 30s. She was one of the first, I think she was the first actual known black female cartoonist. And that's the kind of stuff that stays in the back of my head constantly. Yeah. So I got too many questions right now that I'm trying to hold off until we can actually.
All right, we can come back to you. Fallen, you got anything?
Yeah. I just find it interesting. Obviously, with people able to bring their independent works to the forefront, a lot of the people you mentioned, and ironically, Aaron McGruder kind of comes to mind because I know his stuff.
That's true. That's true.
And and also, but when we also get stuff in some of the more prominent imprints, the young animal imprints, because one of the things that comes to mind is Far Sector, which I think is uh, a spinoff of Green Lantern, I believe, or and I just find it really interesting that it's very prominent with a black woman
You
and
talking
things of
about
that
Far
way.
Sector?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Far Sector. And it's like when they decide to do that, it's like things like that. It's just like, man, like people were really starting to tell their story and stuff, and really be able to kind of get in these roles or whatever. And it's organic. It's not something that, like, it just feels like it's peddled or, you know, anything like that. It's like it's genuinely organic. And, you know, I just always thought that was interesting and very inspiring, honestly. So, it's just like Gypsy, man. I'm here for it, dude.
Right. Yeah, because like Far Sector, written by M.K. Jemisin and then drawn by Jamal Campbell. The art is fantastic, dude. Like, if you've never
Yeah.
seen Far Sector, the art is incredible. The art is absolutely
Yeah,
incredible.
most
But the
definitely.
writing is really good. It's Afrofuturistic. It's something that you've never really seen coming out of DC. Like, at least written from that perspective. Even the races, the alien races that they have are, they're not Eurocentric. They're all Afrocentric.
Is this title going to survive the DC purge?
It's popular enough. I'm not sure. I think it was
Yeah.
always intended to be a limited run. I don't think it was ever intended to be a full-on ongoing. But Sojourner, as a character, incredible. I can't imagine that they wouldn't try and do something with her again later. So,
Real quick, out of the chat, the YouTube chat, John P. Is asking, he wondered where Dave sees the industry going as everything is getting more digital and away from traditional media.
As an artist, I was one of those people. I was resistant to draw on my iPad for I don't know how long. I was
just sitting
I was one of those
ways.
people, stacks and stacks of comic book Bristol board, and I would just be, and my partner Tion, he said, "Man, you better start drawing on this." So I bought an Apple Pencil, and I have not looked back.
Look back.
Oh my God, I draw so much on my iPad now that when I draw on pencil, and me and Tion joke about this all the time. When I draw on pencil on board, on those rare occasions I do, when I want to change something, I'm grabbing the paper and I'm trying to spread it like, oh wait, that's not. So yeah, I don't miss it. I prefer drawing on my iPad now. I prefer drawing in. I use a sketchbook and Procreate.
Right.
I haven't looked back.
So do you think, I think, and to John P's point, I think he's wondering, do you think that the major publishers will eventually stop printing and just switch to
Well,
digital?
it appears as though the business itself is telling us that printing is if it's not dead, it's dying.
Yeah.
DC didn't go through what they went through for shits and giggles. I mean, that
Right.
was, and from what I've read, they said that they're going to start focusing on
Digital.
So,
Yeah.
the print medium period is suffering. Magazines. You ever been to a CVS and remember what the magazine section at CVS used to look like?
Oh, yeah,
Now it's
Bitch was deep.
yeah.
It used to be almost a whole aisle.
Yeah, that was deep.
exactly. No
Yeah.
more. So, unfortunately, the digital age is taking its toll, and as an artist, it killed my desire to draw on paper. I paint now digitally. I used to tell myself as a painter, I don't feel like going buying all these damn paints.
Now you ain't got to.
My place smell like linseed oil, and I got to
Right.
stretch a damn canvas and gesso. Nope.
Nope.
My iPad, and
Pick
if
up your
I,
iPad,
and if
go.
I don't like it, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and
so,
it's not stuck everywhere.
so
yeah.
I think it, and it's not for everybody. I think I read that one of my favorites, Adam Hughes, one of my favorite artists, he does not and will not draw digitally. And then there's a guy, Clayton Henry. I watch him on his IG, and he draws on his Procreate on his iPad, and it's just beautiful stuff. Whatever works for you. Whatever. I'm glad that the resource is there.
Yeah.
Real quick, do you think that helps lower the barrier of entry for a lot of maybe younger artists or even independent artists?
You know what? When you see little kids with their own iPads, you'd have to figure, the access to that equipment, the access to an Apple Pencil and an iPad can get you started. And now there's so many programs and apps that are designed to take you from whatever is going on in your imagination to making a comic book. It's kind of like how, remember when rap was a professional's game? And now anybody can just sit at home and make a rap, hip hop, whatever.
Mixtape.
Even video production has become that. The gap has just basically been narrowed. So.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you
but
have
there's always
desire,
rooms for professionals. There's always
but
there
that's
always
the
will
key.
be.
That's the key, though. If you can do it independently and be just as good as a professional, damn, there you go.
All right. So before I turn it over to the chat, have them talk. Gypsy, did you? I remember you said you had questions. Do you have one question that you want to put out there before we switch over?
No, we can go ahead and do the switch. Dennis' comment wouldn't go digital, but no, I'm good for now.
Okay. All right. So the power is yours, everybody. Let's talk about what you want to talk about.
The power is yours.
All right. So yeah, Meowion's down there on the bottom. She was like, print is dying, definitely. So King Takeem has asked, what book have you worked on that you enjoyed the most?
He came
in
a little bit later. Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah.
2021.
Okay.
We'll let you know.
Right. That's true.
We'll let you know.
Okay. So
Basically,
the one
cannot
that you
talk about it
actually
just
can
yet.
talk
Okay.
about.
Oh well.
Before that.
Obviously, Domino.
Domino. Okay.
That was to have Kelly Corvese was the editor at the time. I was at the Chicago Comic-Con, and for somebody coming off a really good time with Vampirella, to have him flipping through my Vampirella books and go, man, you would be good for Domino. And then I got an X-Men book
Right.
after that, so I did the X-Men annual.
X-Men
so.
96, I think, right? Yep.
Yeah, so I thought I was on my way. And then Pneumonia said, sit your ass down. you better calm down.
No, wait, no. When I heard it when you first said it, I probably misplaced the years. When were you doing the Vampirella run?
94, 95, through there, 93, 94,
You know what? I
95,
probably have some of your books then.
Venice
Now
of
that I think about it.
Vampirella.
No,
Yeah.
I probably have some of your books
Yeah.
then. Now that I think about it, because that time period was right around the time that I discovered the character.
Yeah.
Again, it heard of, but
Yeah.
at that age in high school, it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, you're spending your money in particular spots.
There you go.
And comics was not always the top of the
There you go.
the list, but I'm almost positive I have a few of your
Yeah.
books then for sure.
But you damn sure didn't miss that Jim Lee run, though.
Well, no, I mean, again, X-Men was like, that was life during high school. I'm sorry, that was 92, man. So
That was me in that period buying comics purely for the art because the stories made no sense.
and that's fair. And that's fair.
Whatsoever.
Because I think, in all honesty, my first introduction to X-Men, even just from memory, was Pride of the X-Men, that pilot that they tried to make. That was the first time I had even saw the characters. And so that same day, I went out and bought it was a classic X-Men, so one of the reprints, and bought like an Action Comics #1 reprint. Those are the first two books in my memory that I went out and bought myself.
Wait a minute, man. That was your first exposure? You didn't watch them on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends?
No. You gotta come on, G.I. Joe and Transformers. G.I. Joe and Transformers was pretty much everything for me during that time period. And then Turtles came a little bit later. So Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, I usually got in rerun because it was like I played Little League Baseball. So most of the time Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends came on, I was
field.
out. Yeah,
you were in the field.
So I didn't see most of that type of stuff.
I got you.
Not initially, anyway.
Hannibal Megan's like, hell, I
There
just made
he
a rap
is.
album yesterday.
There he
There you
is.
go.
Oh, damn. I'm surprised
There
he
you
didn't
go.
have any.
He's always the
There you
one.
go.
He's always the one.
I'm surprised he didn't have any real questions to ask.
I think he just got here.
He might have just got
Do you
here.
have anything that you wanted to put out there?
Okay, so like since you worked on Domino, and then her first live action appearance was in the Deadpool movie, what did you think of the portrayal of
Great
Domino
question.
in that?
Zazie Beetz is awesome.
Yeah.
I wish that they had just gone ahead and give her the black patch. But I got why they did what they did. And
They didn't want to do whiteface and stuff.
yeah. But then you have to kind of make it clear to someone, this isn't whiteface. She just is an albino. And, you know, and I, like I said, we were talking earlier. I said, I'm one of those people, I'll take the race swap issue on a case-by-case basis. And I'll leave it up to me whether I like it or not.
Sure, of course.
You know? And her as an actress, she was great. She was the best part of that movie, so I was really happy with her.
I agree.
I hope that they liked her enough that they consider her
For the
in a
MCU.
spinoff.
Yeah.
In a spinoff, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be pretty
Yeah.
cool. So, my question for you, I got one question, is if you had your dream job back when you were younger, if you could have worked on any one character, who would it have been
Oh,
to draw?
okay. Well, see, that's just it. I'm trying to think. My dream job varied. I wanted to be a fighter pilot when I was a little boy.
No, I
wanted
meant
to
to
be a
draw.
comic-
Yeah, to draw. It's like which book would you have wanted to done? Which character would you
I
want to
was
been on?
I was a big Wolverine guy
Okay.
when I was a kid, and that's how old I am. I bought Hulk 181 brand new off the stands.
Still got it?
Wow.
Wish.
Yeah, that first full
You know,
appearance, man.
I bought that. Actually, I bought issue 180. That was his true first appearance because he was the last panel on I believe on the last page.
I thought they always classified it as that was like not so much a cameo, but that was like first, like you said, actual appearance, but first full appearance was
First full appearance is 181.
Okay,
but,
I got you.
But
Okay.
at the end of that book, there's this cat in this yellow and black outfit calling I'm the Wolverine. It's like, whoa, what
I
is,
got you.
what is that? So yeah, I was a Wolverine guy, even as a little kid, and I would have loved to. I can't stand the character now.
Because he's
Really?
too oversaturated. No, just
I
Must have really hated him
over-
in the 90s, right?
I am so over whatever it is that they have done to.
You sound like me with Batman right now.
Yeah, I
Man.
preferred that character so much when I knew almost nothing about
Oh,
him.
okay. So you're saying as far as they just tell too much about. I got you.
Like
I
there's
got
no
you.
mystique about him
I am
anymore, right?
I am no fan of the origins and the John Howlett and
Okay.
just none of it. None of it worked for me. I was shocked. I was one of those people in that issue of X-Men, Dave Cockrum run with Claremont, when everyone was surprised when the claws were revealed that they actually were part of
Bone.
his hands.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I didn't, and now the bone claws.
I was gonna
and all
ask
that.
you. I was gonna
God
ask you if
damn
you
it.
liked that or if you hated it. Yeah,
No,
as a Wolverine fan.
nothing.
So,
like I said,
but did you dig it when Magneto yanked the adamantium out of him? You didn't like that?
no,
Dude, that was
because
so hardcore.
I was hardcore, but hardcore. Okay, how about this? I would have accepted that as something really awesome that Magneto would have done to him back in the John Byrne, Chris Claremont run, when I didn't know anything about Wolverine and he was still my favorite character. And had Magneto done something that hardcore to him, I don't think it would have made it in the books back then because
Comics
comics were
code
a
and
little,
yeah.
playing a little safer, or at least it would have done off screen. Hell, I remember being shocked when Wolverine killed them cats in the sewer. in the Hellfire
In the
Club.
Hellfire
That was
Club.
oh,
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah.
so. It wasn't that act. It was just the whole backstory and everything that went with the character back then. I was done with comics right around then. I
Really?
couldn't. Yeah, we were talking earlier about how convoluted they got and the continuities all screwed up and the character's changing. So I was out. So
Okay.
yeah, I love Wolverine. Hate him now.
Yeah.
Love Wolverine, hate him now.
Dido's got the chat. Go ahead, sir.
Hand of Omega was in the chat. He was asking a little while up if they are to recast, when they recast, because they're going to recast him. Who do you think should play him? Who?
Black Panther?
Yeah.
Recast Black Panther.
That is
Yeah, when
one
they
hell
recast
of a
anything.
question
Someone
right now.
who we do not.
You don't want to.
Nobody knows.
I think,
So not like a John Boyega.
I think they should.
See.
I've read somebody say Jamie Foxx.
Hell
Too
no.
old.
Hell
Hell
no.
no. Stop.
Hell
What?
no.
Yeah.
Just
So
stop.
I've heard Yahya Abdul Mateen II, the guy who played Black Manta in
I wish he hadn't been
Black
Black
Manta.
Manta.
Manta because
I'd
I
love
want him
to
to be
have
Black
that
Manta.
conversation.
I want him to
Yeah,
be Black Manta.
yeah.
He can't be Black Panther now.
Yeah,
I want him to
I'd
be
love
Black
to have
Manta.
that
Yeah.
There's somewhere there's a guy who would just knock this out.
Oh, I agree.
We
Totally
just
agree.
gotta find him.
Actually, we know one.
We
Who-
do.
Yeah, we know one
We-
that would
we-
love
we
to get
do.
the job.
But he'd have to. He'd have to. I don't know. There'd be a lot that he'd have to do to get that done.
He'd have to be out there audition. If they do auditions, he'd have to.
Yeah, he better
Oh,
fly out
he'd
there.
be-
He
he'd
better
be-
find,
he'd
find
do
him and get
He'd
out
do
there.
it. Dude,
Good-
if I
good
told
luck.
Megan
Always
Sean,
have
if I
that
told Megan Sean
fear.
right now that they were doing auditions for Black Panther, he'd hit the road immediately. He'd be on the road.
Yes, he would.
Yeah,
so-
he's been lusting after that job
Okay.
well before Chadwick was cast.
Wow.
Now, Hand of Omega is trying to throw. We're not going back this. We're not
Gosh
throwing.
darn it, you
we're not
troll.
doing Michael John White's
Michael J-
name
come
back
on,
in that.
bro.
See,
Look,
We're
if
not
we're gonna
doing
throw
that.
Michael J. White in there, we might as
are
well
we
throw like
proving that
Don
there's
Cheadle
maybe
in there
10
or
black actors?
Basically, that's,
And
that's, what,
all
that's,
like
what,
that.
that's what it sounds
And we're
like.
just
right now.
like that.
That's what it
Everybody, we're
sounds
just
like.
flipping through
Yeah,
the
just
cards.
shuffling back and
Yeah,
forth.
Come on.
Hey, you might as well do the whole Wesley Snipes reset. You know, after remember he was supposed to be Black Panther a long
I
time ago.
literally read somebody say, well, maybe Denzel, but Denzel's too old. I'm like, Denzel shouldn't even
His
be in
son?
the conversation.
Yeah, he really should.
Yeah. Brian
His
Cannon's
son,
like, what about John David
John-
Washington? Now he could be a pretty good choice.
Again, I think he's a fantastic actor, but I don't want to see an established guy.
don't want an
now. I think
wanna make
I think you do the character service by giving this role to someone who will make it their own and just own it and run with it.
Now that's a good one. That's a good one.
that?
King Takim says, what about that kid from The Shy? The main kid. I have no idea who he's talking about though.
I'm not
I only watched a few episodes. of it,
Alex
so-
R. Hibbert is what I guess is the name.
Okay.
I am not familiar with be 100% honest. I think, and to Dave's point, I think it's if you have an unknown, you're not bringing anything else that you've seen with them. With Denzel, we know what we would get. With Michael J. White, we know what we would get. I think if you got somebody, because again, with Chadwick, nobody knew what you were going to get. You knew you were going to get a good performance because Chadwick does it. Well, he did amazing films, but you still didn't know what you were going to get. Now that he's passed on, again, the bar is set so high. It's like, okay, if you get Denzel, obviously he's not going to, but I'm just saying, let's say you got him. Okay, is he going to play him like the Equalizer? Is he going to play him like a little bit of Alonzo from Training Day? You know what I'm saying? It's like you have all these different. Is he going to? Is he?
Which
it's
is
like,
unfair to him because he's
Right.
talented enough that he'll give you
something new.
something,
Yeah.
but you'll sit there with your own expectations. And
Right.
I would rather not have any expectations other than
Yeah.
to see the character of T'Challa done justice going forward, finish his arc, and then move on. And you know what? Another thing that I hope that they're even considering. You know, there's been more than one Black Panther.
Oh
in
God, don't say that.
history.
Okay, 'cause look,
Are you
Why-
talking
I
about?
don't want to interrupt you. I am so sorry.
Okay.
I got into
we
my
couldn't
Discord.
tell a Black Panther story from the 1960s.
I mean, we could do a period piece Black Panther. Like,
Tell-
what about
tell
Wakanda from back in the
Exactly.
day? Yeah, what about?
exactly.
You guys are doing the exact same thing so. God, I'm jumping into this Discord.
And I'm not saying I want that.
Why don't we just do a story of the Black Panther being younger? And I was like, you know what? Something like that wouldn't be bad because then we can try to, not start over, but start the movies in a different direction. So that way, not people can forget about it, but we can memorialize what we have and then keep walking. And then some piece of trash in there decided to say, oh, yeah, let's just get Jaden to do it. I
No.
I walked
No,
out.
sir.
So I have this fear in the back of my head now.
No.
Keep the Smith
they're not
family
gonna
as far
do
away
that.
from it as
They-
possible.
Right.
Sorry.
They are
Yeah,
not
no
going to do
disrespect.
that.
All right, wrapping up real quick. Brian Cannon's like, has Denzel ever done an African accent?
He
No,
could.
he could though. He easily could. Well, I don't even want to say
Look,
easily.
he did a Jamaican accent in
Denzel
Mighty
has
Quinn.
got
might
so
be
much
a
talent.
soldier
He could
Yeah.
do it, man.
That you even suggested
Yeah.
he could.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I'm sorry.
I
he
mean, it's like, look, he had a West Indian accent back in the
Right.
day with Mighty Quinn, so that's about as close as we
You know
can get
what,
as far
though?
as him doing accents.
I'm
So-
surprised that they didn't find a way to get him into Black Panther, the first movie, anyway. You know,
He might have. You know what?
True.
He may have turned it down.
Yeah,
And here's why I
that's
say
true.
that. Angela Bassett obviously was a perfect, casting
Mother, yeah.
for the Queen.
yep.
Obviously, Letitia Wright up and coming, perfect casting.
Yep.
Lupita Nyong'o, perfect casting.
Yep.
I always mess up her name, but from Walking Dead, you know who I'm talking about.
yeah.
Perfect
Denai
casting.
Guerrero.
Denai Guerrero.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if you throw Denzel into that mix, first of all, who is he going to be?
Well, how about this? Maybe what Denzel should have been was T'Challa's father.
But see, they already
John Connie
they already
was
established
excellent.
what he looks like,
Yeah.
Right.
and
I mean,
that would have.
the only other
Now,
person I
can
can
you
think of is
imagine-
maybe Shuri.
Can you
or at
imagine
least,
if-
like,
Can you
one of the
imagine
older
if,
Panthers.
if Denzel had been cast as T'Challa's father from the beginning and he was in the same movie with Robert Redford when they
Now that
did
would have been cool.
Civil War?
Yeah.
Because that's the first time we saw
Oh, yeah.
T'Chaka
Yeah.
was with. And
Wait.
Denzel as
No,
T'Challa's
Robert
father.
Redford was in Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right.
so
Winter
yeah.
Soldier.
Yep.
Okay, to follow up with that level of
actor,
of
yeah.
actor in that Denzel Washington from the very beginning as T'Challa's father would have been. Well, why are we talking about Denzel?
I don't know.
Denzel always
They
comes
brought it
up because again, like you said,
Because there's only 10 black
there's 10 black actors,
Yeah.
black male actors.
We haven't talked
yeah.
about Wesley Snipes yet.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, yeah.
Is that all of them?
Right. Well, Winston Duke needs to be in there too because his
Wesley
Mbappe.
You know
Wesley
what?
Snipes wanted to do Black Panther
did.
back
in the day.
Yeah,
he did.
actually, it would have been more relevant to talk about because he really wanted to
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
he
really
really,
did.
really
He's probably
wanted to get that done.
low-key
did, but
still
I've-
pissed.
But would the
He
trade-off
did,
have
but his-
been? Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, he did, but the thing is, his talent for accents like leaves a lot to be desired, though.
Well, sure.
So,
And no one else would have been able to do.
You know what? You know, next man come back.
It's
You know,
okay,
next man
'cause-
come back. Bokeem Woodbine.
You
I'm
wild.
yeah, he was, hey,
You
I'm
wild.
kidding. He was already the shocker.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
you wild.
That's enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing I was gonna say actually. Camera's up so we can start to wrap up the show. But would it have been a trade-off if we had gotten Denzel as Black Panther back in the day? Would we have been robbed of him being Blade at some point?
You talking about
I think so.
Wesley?
I really
Talking
think
about
so.
Wesley.
Wesley, yeah. So
I'm about
yeah.
to say Denzel as Blade. Come on now.
No,
How about
Denzel's-
this? You know what the problem though is that
hey, you did the Equalizer. Don't knock it.
That's
the
not
likelihood that a Black Panther movie back then would have failed is really
True.
strong.
That's very true.
the
It
special
probably
effects,
would.
That's very true.
everything that comes with it, and the mindset of the audience.
Oh yeah.
It would have become a cult movie.
Right.
It wouldn't have become a phenomenon.
And they
So
would
I-
have said it in New York or
like
something.
Meteor Man.
Yeah. Hollywood would have jacked with it strongly. So I think we got what we got, the way we got it for the better.
Yeah.
It all worked out for the best.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So we're gonna get ready to wrap up the show. Want to thank our special guest Dave Perrin for coming in the studio with us
Hey,
again.
man, thank
it
you
was
again.
it was a great time. Hopefully, maybe we'll find a way to get you back in the studio and you
Anytime,
can chop it
just
up with us. So yeah, next week, guys, we're gonna be talking about. Actually, I forget what's gonna be on next week, but make sure you pay attention to our Facebook channel. Facebook.com/Culture Junkies. You'll see the updates for our shows. Also, when we're going to be streaming live, I've been, like I alluded to earlier, I just got the Avengers early day access. I'm going to be playing all the time. I might even run home and play tonight at some point. might not. I'm getting kind of tired. But anyway, we'll definitely be playing like throughout the week. And even GQ said since he got it, he might join. He's going to join me
I might
playing.
even join in. I'm going to be unboxing the Super Duper Deluxe Happy version.
Yeah, is that coming out this Friday for the official launch day?
Well, I mean, I already have it, so I got to unbox it. So I mean, it'll be up
Okay,
Friday. It'll be this
excellent.
Friday. You guys
See?
will be seeing it unboxed.
So now you got something to look forward to, everybody.
But you
know?
always have something to look forward to at Culture Junkies. We got a lot going on, man.
We sure
and
do.
if y'all want to support us, and a special shout out to our Culture Junkies level supporter, DeMarcus Smith. You guys can go over to our Patreon, Patreon/Culture Junkies, and there's 3 different tiers to pick from. If you want to get a shout out, pick that highest tier, and we appreciate all the support from everybody, though. Thank y'all.
Indeed, very well said. I don't think I could have put it better myself.
You probably couldn't have, because I'm me.
Oh my God, this guy!
Yeah.
He is impossible.
Hey.
Anyway, so everybody, thank you for tuning in. We hope that you will come back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, for another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. I'm your host, Kenshiro, from my friends GQ, the Great Adakuji, Fallen, and Gypsy. We will see you guys next week. Have a great one.
All right, take care.